Good morning, everybody. This is Judith A. Culp. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So, you know, I look around and I see a lot of unhappy, scared, stressed out people. At times I can be stressed out because, I quit a job. And the day of like, oh, it's payday or knowing when my check is coming, I don't have that. I don't have that. And this is not for everyone. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. But overall, I know it's going to work to my advantage, and I'm glad that I'm doing it because it's a brave thing. But also, I couldn't. I just was in the wrong work environment. Now I may have to get another job, but it won't be like that. These people were not the right match for me because they don't have any managerial experience. And in their minds, if they can control you, then you're a good employee. And that's happened to me two times in a row in the same office. And it was like, this is just ridiculous. You don't know how to run a staff, so you think you'll do it like, I'll just be their work parent. I will watch them every second. I won't put any stock and value in any goodwill they've built up by being a good employee. Yeah, I'm just gonna put the hammer down. The worst kind of boss is the boss that tries to be all things to every employee and then smile and call everybody friend or smile and call everybody, a buddy. But we're not friends and we're not buddies. I'm your employee, right? And the way you treat me, you don't treat me like a friend. My friends treat me well. Yeah, they don't lie in my face. Be a grown up. There's so many people who have these job titles and they make more money than you and they're not grown ups. They don't know what they're doing. And then when you're grown and you can see it, then they look at you like you're disloyal. No, I want this shit to be right and I want it to be fair. And there's just too many workplaces out here that are not fair. I have had conversation after conversation with people who know their boss got the job some kind of way, but they don't exactly know how to be a manager. They don't know how to be a leader. A good leader makes other leaders. A good leader uses phrases like, "Hey, yeah, I'm I'm here to serve you guys. You guys are coming into this office working and spending your days trying to help me build something. So let's work together. You know, I am your boss and I will hold you accountable, but I need you to hold me accountable as well." Girl, you ain't gonna get nobody to say that. But that's what a real leader does and says. But, most people are too insecure and they want you to like them, so they're not gonna discipline anybody or or they'll do something really ridiculous like discipline the people they think are in their pocket, people who are like on their side, like, well, if I harass this good employee that we like, that's a win for us. But it's not, it's a loss because now you've harassed somebody who did good work and probably sent them out the door. I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand how so many people don't know what they're doing. And it's not just me and my job, it's not just my friends and their jobs. It's like, look at the federal government. None of them know what they're doing either. It's like everybody got super dumb overnight. Like nobody has any emotional intelligence. Nobody knows what they're doing. No one seems to be want to be held accountable for their lack of knowledge, and they're almost all in politics, and then you've got people just at the corporate level who get promoted and they don't know what they're doing. It's almost like nothing is based off skill anymore. It's strange. And I'm telling you, I've heard story after story after story about bad management. And it's almost like, I don't know, it's got to be generational. It's got to be generational because you probably had a bunch of people who got leadership roles 50 years ago coming out of the military. Yeah, if you were a leader in the military, you probably were able to secure a lot of leadership roles outside of the military. But you're used to structures and systems and accountability. And as everything has eroded and people are just entering the workforce from college. And then now you've got this whole generation of people who expect to be, paid like a boss, treated like a boss with like, 5 years work experience. It's like, what are you talking about? You just barely out of law school and you want to be, you know, paid $150,000. It's like, you're in the public sector. What are you doing? And then you may be better served in the private sector, but most people don't have the stones for that, you know, because you really, I mean, can you really go out and start your own firm, or do you just go and you know go and be a part of a bigger firm and get into that kind of that career ladder, which I don't know a lot about it, but it sounds like it can be very, very draining because it's so treacherous, and women are always, my allergies have been going crazy this fall. Women are always at a disadvantage in those kind of situations because, sorry, because, we're most of us are normally a little bit more calm than that. We have a hard time climbing the ladder, but at the end of the day, I think America has a leadership problem, and um, I don't know what to do to try to fix it, you know, other than I think everybody should go to a leadership training course because they don't know how to be emotionally intelligent. They don't know how to talk to people. And when you're fucking around with people's lives and their livelihood and their money, and you don't have the guts to look them in the face and be honest, dude, get the hell on. That's all I can say. Like, don't talk to me, because you know I would have to fire a ton of people, and it's not personal. You're not good at this job. I'm setting you up by letting you stay here because you think mediocrity pays, and I know you'll never leave because you don't know what you're doing, and you just came by, and you making X amount of dollars. Who would leave that? It's a crazy world when nobody knows what they're doing. Think about it. That's insane. Nobody has any professionalism. And when, of course, I'm saying nobody, but that's a very big generalization, but it's more than just a few people. You go online and look at some of these forums, people are furious with their bosses, mainly because their bosses lack the skills to be their boss. Yeah, that's wild. I talk to somebody regularly, I can't remember who, one of my friends. Every supervisor in her company is about 10 years younger than her. So her direct supervisor is 10 years younger than her. And by virtue of that, of course, they have less experience. They've been working 10 years less. It's weird. I don't understand what's going on. I really don't. It's been a very strange thing to witness. On another note, it sounds like the shutdown might be coming to an end. Finally, Trump got booed in D.C. I don't know what. Listen, people. I was going to say I don't know what this guy's deal is. I do know. I do know. He is so narcissistic and insecure that he creates his own realities. And you'll hear people tell you to do that. If you want to change your life, create your own reality. Da, da, da. Yeah, he actually does it all the time. So he's out in D.C. and Bomani, I can't think of his last name, Bomani Jones, who I don't always like on sports TV, but his little blurbs on YouTube Shorts are interesting. And he was like, why would you go to DC and want to read a declaration? The number one employer in DC is the federal government. And right now, with this 40-day shutout, the shutdown, half the audience at this sporting event were federal workers or people who love federal workers. And they booed the shit out of Trump. And that's why the shutdown is about to come to an end. He can't stand that. And he's so insulated from real people that when real people come up against him, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm really messing up. I don't want to do things that make me unpopular." And even though he's wildly unpopular, you've got those crazy diehard MAGA people who think he's a genius, which I don't understand that. I don't know. It's like being in a cult. I said that before. I've watched enough docuseries and documentaries about cults that I understand how they work and how people become susceptible to them. Because it's really just about your belief system. And can your belief system be rewired to follow someone despite your better judgment? And yes, that could happen to all of us. It really does. And it's happened to a lot of people because they want hope. And the white male is just clinging to anything to stay relevant. And they overlook Trump's craziness and his inability to really be effective. He gets things done, but he's really a bull in a china shop. He is not an elegant, graceful person. He says exactly what he's thinking all the time. Unfortunately, though, he's a Gemini. So he'll say one thing one day and something else the next day and be totally fine with both of those things. And I follow some very interesting conservative people who, for some reason, think Trump is great. And it's like, you are brainwashed. He's not great. He is for sale to the highest bidder. And whoever these people are behind this Project 2025 paid him well. Uh, we used to think it was Russia the last time, but it was probably Israel, and it's probably still Israel again this time. He is for sale. He is like a big giant sheet cake. And if you're willing to pay a certain price, you can have a piece. This man is insane. So I'm sure he stood up in front of that group and now he's like, this can't happen. You can't boo the president of the United States. Why are they booing me? Shutdown. Okay, in the shutdown. You know what I mean? And it's like, what is happening? And I'm telling you, I'm not putting this out there because I want it to happen, but I think his own people are going to turn on him. These people who bought the sheet cake, I think they're going to throw the sheet cake in the trash can, and you can interpret that however you like. I'm telling you, it is not going to be good for him. It does not end well. And I think the only thing that makes sense is people, and I know that people don't want to do this, but people need to stop voting. Just don't vote. They're all rigged anyway. You tell me that you listen, and I think she might be a horrible person. Now that 10 years later, all the shit I've been reading about her and her husband, she's probably awful. But how did every single person think Hillary Clinton was going to be the president? And then election night, it was like zero votes. Well, you know what I mean? Like she got votes, but it was like Trump got by in a squeaker, right? How did that happen? Everybody saw her winning in a landslide. That I remember feeling like I'm not sure I know what's going on here. I'm not sure if people just the pundits got it all wrong. I don't know what happened with that. I just remember that night when he won and she lost. Because for me, it was more about her losing. And I just was like, she had all the momentum. In fact, I had even said this will be the first time in history that a Democrat will follow another Democrat in office. And then the election happened and she was not the president. I feel like that was a scam. And let's go all the way back to when the Dark Lord and George W. Bush got it. Florida was called for Al Gore. I was at work and I worked nights at that time and I had a little TV and I was watching the little TV and they had and the internet and they had Florida blue. And then it was almost like George W. Bush called his brother like, what the hell? Because Jeb Bush was governor. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, let's take it off the board. It's not. And I'm like, what? And then the hanging chads and missing votes. Like, let's be honest. And that was what, 30 years ago. Things have been so corrupted. I just don't believe in that system anymore. And I don't believe in these politicians. They're all bought and paid for by someone. APAC is trying to get rid of Thomas Massey, who is the only honest person in Congress. This has just been unbelievable. But you have to believe the unbelievable. That's where we are. And I just hope they all just go away. Deliver us from evil. I say that every day. Deliver us from evil, seen and unseen, forces known and unknown. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow good people all the days of our lives. Because this is bananas. It's crazy. Ask yourself some questions like, what are we watching here? And then Trump is convinced that he should have won over Biden. And I don't know. I felt that actually was accurate because he was doing such a terrible job managing COVID. If COVID hadn't come, Donald Trump would have easily won re-election. And so COVID does come and it just shakes the world upside down. And people were like, "Oh, we can't we can't have we can't have this." So then I think that's why Biden won. But it's just been insane. I believe he actually won. The results I question are George W. Bush and that evil Dick Cheney. And then that was weird. And then I didn't understand how Hillary lost. And I do think she's not a good person. Google some of the stuff, like Google how many people have died around Hillary Clinton. You know, they may be the couple in some form or fashion from House of Cards. There have been some gruesome deaths and unexplained mysteries around them since they got there. I think even when Bill was running, remember the guy just shot himself in the head, and their close advisor and friend, they were in some sort of scandal with the real estate or something. I can't remember, but it started way back then. But it's a trail of bodies since then, and people really question her relationship with Podesta, and he's obviously a child molester. Um, Look at the stuff with Anthony Weiner and his wife, who was Hillary's close advisor and friend. Uh, People really believe that these folks are part of some sort of child molesting group. Yeah, the Clintons. I mean, you could see Bill being with underage people, but like they think Hillary too. And Anthony Weiner said he had an insurance policy, and it was dirt on the Clintons. It was dirt on Hillary. So a lot of these people have been blackmailed to the nth degree. And a lot of what we're seeing is the residue from blackmail. And nobody's doing any investigative reporting on it. So stay tuned. I don't even know how. I was thinking I wouldn't even have anything to talk about this morning, and there I go. But yeah, we live in interesting times. Pay attention. Google Hillary. Google Podesta. I can't remember which Podesta it is, but he has some weird fucking art. And don't forget, Jeffrey Epstein has that picture of Bill Clinton in a blue dress. Google that too. There is so much at play here. And I'm beginning to wonder if any of our elections or any of our votes even matter because they get who they want. And, I don't trust either party. We all know that, right? I've said that a million times and it's true. So, time is moving forward. It's a big energy day. Don't waste it. Take care.